I'm going to show you exactly where billions in Olympic dollars are being poured into new Brisbane venues, transport links, and developments that are already driving values upwards. The Victoria Park Stadium, Bowen Hills Athletics Village, Cross River Rail, these aren't just construction projects. They're potentially home buying hotspots in the making if you know where to look. The question is, which are going to be the next up-and-coming Brisbane hotspots after the Olympics transformation? These aren't going to be the obvious suburbs, so we're going to go through and find out where the opportunities are hiding. Let's dive right in.
Welcome to the Buying Your First Home podcast, your personal guide through the Australian housing market. Here we tackle the big questions and the small details that come up when buying your first home. From financial prep to finding the right neighbourhood, we're here to ensure that you've got all the knowledge at your fingertips. So let's take the first step towards unlocking the door to your new home.
Recent plans announced by the Queensland government have caused a massive shake-up in terms of the property market. Suddenly, the hottest suburb in the room has been left for someone better. Let's cover some major updates. The Gabba rebuild has been ditched. Instead, we're getting a brand new 60,000 Olympic stadium right in Victoria Park. They're building this not just as a stadium. It's designed to be the heart of the new Games precinct, linking Spring Hills, Bowen Hills, and offering easy access to the CBD. The proposed Athletes Village development in Hamilton has been canned. Its new home will be the RNA Showgrounds in Bowen Hills. It'll feature a 20,000-seat stadium and importantly transform into much-needed housing after the Games. Connecting it all is the Cross River Rail. Nothing much has changed here, but it's an important piece of the puzzle. The $5.4 billion project was supposed to be at an end this year or early next year, but now they've pushed back that date to 2029. It should slash commute times in key spots like Bowen Hills, the CBD, Wollongabba and Dutton Park, but not as soon as everyone was thinking. And what about that much-talked Brisbane Live Arena? Well, the original Roman Street plan is off the table, but don't count out completely. The government is privately seeking investment to build it near the Gabba at the old GoPrint site. There's a lot happening across Queensland in the lead up to the Games as well, but a huge amount of the suburbs is being spent around the inner city of Brisbane. So today we're going to look at these suburbs in detail and see if there's money to be made or if the hype train has left the station. Brisbane's inner north is already pretty close to the CBD, major hospitals like the Royal Brisbane Hospital and universities like QT, but now it's the centre stage for the Olympics. The main areas going to benefit are Hurston, Kelvin Grove, Bowen Hills and Spring Hill. I'm going to show you why. Hurston has a lot more going for it rather than the proximity to RBH. Off the back of all of this investment in the new Victoria Park Stadium, you can expect new investment in transportation and new amenities. After the Games, it's going to remain as an AFL and cricket venue, giving year-long activity. Prices in Hurston have gone up considerably in the past 12 months. The median house price is around $1.3 million, up 21% in the past year. Units sit around 623,000, showing a solid 12.6% growth. And since the news about the new stadium was only confirmed last month, there's a pretty good chance that this is just the beginning of a huge growth spurt. The demand has been relatively confident for both houses and units over the past year. But with the recent news, I'd be surprised if it doesn't continue to increase. Hurston was a solid bet for buying property even without the new stadium. But with it, it's going to be even better. Moving on just across the M3, let's take a look at Spring Hill. Spring Hill's Centenary Pool has always been a good spot to take a swim. The current median house price is $1.7 million. But units are more accessible at $510,000, making them attractive for investors or first home buyers seeking inner city convenience. Demand for both houses and units there have been relatively average, but again, that's no surprise. No one knew about the Aquatic Centre before the 25th of March, so imagine what prices will do in the next few months. If you're looking for a starter home, I'd definitely recommend looking at Spring Hill. Some of the apartments are a bit dated, but they might have capacity for growth. Kelvin Grove is one of those quiet performers, with a great urban village, close proximity to the QT campus, and now it's going to be, within spitting distance of the new stadium in Victoria Park. House prices are $1.35 million and the unit market is around $635,000, showing a massive 30% jump in the past 12 months. Demand for both houses and units has been on the slow decline recently, but it hasn't stopped that impressive growth. And again, I'd be pretty surprised if those recent announcements don't add a bit of fuel to the fire in the market here. Now I've got Bowen Hills. I've always thought of Bowen Hills as being a bit of an awkward spot. It's close to the city and valley, and it has great connectivity, but it just doesn't feel that close. But as of March 2025, the government's confirmed the Athletes Village at the RNA Showgrounds. The showgrounds themselves will get a nice bump at seating capacity at the main arena as well. There's really not many houses to buy in Bowen Hills, but units here are still good value, currently averaging $525,000, up 11.7%, with reported rental yields over 6%. Its walkability to the CBD, hospitals and employment hubs like Newstead positions it for strong post-Games desirability. Not to mention when the Cross River Rail comes online, there's going to be a permanent new station at Exhibition, which will make it feel a bit more closer and connected. For anyone reading the news on the Olympics, changes in these suburbs probably sound like no surprise. But usually with these things, there's a hidden trick that property investors will use to catch the next wave before the hype is priced into the market. It's called the ripple effect, and here's how it works. When a suburb becomes expensive, people who want to buy in that suburb will usually look to buy in the next one over. But in this case, there is no ripple effect. Hurston, Spring Hill, Bowen Hills, and to a lesser extent Kelvin Grove are already cheaper than their neighbours, especially for houses. It could be part of the reason why all of this investment is going to these areas. In the London Olympics, for example, they completely revamped the Stratford area, making sure that all the billions they spent in infrastructure didn't go to waste. It's likely the Queensland government is trying to do the same thing. That being said, there's still a few other suburbs to keep an eye on. I'd keep an eye on these unit markets. Fortitude Valley, an entertainment district with strong rental demand, benefiting from proximity to Bowen Hills and infrastructure upgrades. Milton offers a river-style lifestyle, excellent transportation, close to Suncorp Stadium, which is an Olympic venue, and employment hubs, seeing stronger development confidence. Brisbane City, maximum convenience and poised to capture Olympic visitor demand. Albion, undergoing significant transportation with developments like Albion Exchange, has great connectivity to Olympic venues and solid value. Units are around 623,000 with good yield. It's worth mentioning here the property market in Hamilton might not be looking so bright now that they're going to move the Olympics Village. Moving the Olympics Village from North Shore Hamilton to Bowen Hills removes a pretty big catalyst for local development and potentially dampening some future development in the area. There's still a lot of activity on that North Shore, but it's not going to be the same amount of development that had been originally planned. All right, enough about the north side of Brisbane. It's not the only place where the property market's going to be a shake-up thanks to the Olympics. The big changes here is the confirmation that the Gabba will not get any major redevelopment in the run-up to the Olympics. Some locals are celebrating, especially since it means the East Brisbane School will no longer need to be relocated, but I'm not really sure if Richie Benno would be happy about it. Instead of a rebuild or refurbishment, the new plan is to demolish the Gabba after the games are completed. And the now scrapped plans cost Queensland taxpayers $6.4 million for something that's never going to happen. On the plus side, the Gabba is planned to be redeveloped into a new entertainment and housing hub. There's some exciting potential for urban renewal. Some people are even talking about it becoming another urban spine for Brisbane City. To ease the pain of losing the Gabba, there's now talk of the scrapped Brisbane Arena being rebuilt on the Go Print site in Wollongabba. If this goes ahead, we might lose the Gabba, but we could get a world-class arena. It's not a bad trade. So where are property prices in at the Gabba? The median house price is around $1.35 million. With growth of 8.2% in the past 12 months. Units are at 670,000 with an increase of 13.6%. A lot of this is due to the general trajectory of the Brisbane property market, but I'm sure at least some of the growth was fueled by the plans of the new Gabba Stadium, along with the connection with the Cross River Rail, which is now going to be done by 2029. So in my opinion, the Gabba is a bit more of a long-term play. A bit of wind's going to be taking out of the sails with the recent changes, but once the Cross River Rail's online, and if the Brisbane Life project goes ahead, and if the Gabba redevelopment is a success, there could be a pretty big payoff down the line. But I think putting all this aside, any suburb that's in the inner city area is likely to get a boost from the games, especially if it's along one of the new transportation lines. There's also a new green bridge connecting Kangaroo Point to the north side of the CBD and plenty of other market factors at play. So if you're looking for a property to buy in the inner south or adjacent to it that also has lots of growth potential for the future, here are my recommendations. There are still some affordable pockets where you can get property at less than the neighbouring suburbs. To the south, Dutton Park is a bit quieter, but it's becoming an innovation and transportation hub. It gets a Cross River Rail station with Boggo Road Precinct and boasts a green bridge connection to the UQ. This makes it pretty attractive as far as connectivity. There's opportunity with unit buys, prices ranging from $580,000 to $630,000, making a great opportunity for first home buyers wanting to be close and connected. There's also some good opportunities further south. Annerley gives great value in proximity. South of Dutton Park, you get more house for your money, about $1.3 million, and $675,000 for units, while still reaping the Cross River Rail benefits. It's a real sweet spot for first home buyers. Fairfield, a bit of an underrated gem, quiet, leafy, and soon to be highly connected via the Boggo Road station. Houses are about 1.1 million, units are 670, offering relative affordability just a few k's from the CBD. And Greenslopes, a growth leader, seeing over 30% recent growth, popular for schools, amenities, and transportation. Houses around 1.6 million, units for 735,000. It's easy to get caught up in all the recent announcements, and it's happened so quick the agents haven't even wasted time changing their listing to say their properties are stone's throw away from whatever Olympic venue is closest. But the question a lot of people are asking is, will the Brisbane Olympics property market genuinely boom, or is it hype? History gives us clues. Sydney 2000 saw huge growth, nearly 90%, but was part of a nationwide boom. London 2012 had modest short-term gains, around 2 to 3%, but massive long-term benefits from infrastructure in areas like Stratford. Barcelona in 1992 saw a 130% jump in property values, but it was close to reinventing itself from a pretty low base. Closer to home, the Commonwealth Games in the Gold Coast had a minimal impact. The Gold Coast Athletes Village has been described as a bit of a ghost town post-games, so you want to make sure it's done right to avoid that happening in Brisbane. So here's the reality check. Brisbane is more like Sydney or London, already developed. We're probably not going to see massive jumps like Barcelona had because we're past the phase of the city's early development. And the state of the market leading up to 2032 is anyone's guess. We've been on a massive hot streak since COVID, and while the growth in some markets is slowing down, this could change tomorrow. Overall, looking at the numbers, I'd say we could be more in a London situation. We probably won't see any overnight explosion anywhere, but there'll be gradual targeted growth is probably more realistic. Location also matters. Areas with major infrastructure are going to have the best long-term potential driven by those investments. I'm not trying to get caught up in the hype here, I'm just trying to be realistic. Overall, I think the Brisbane market's still on an amazing trajectory. And even if some of the Olympic investments don't move the needle massively, like we saw in Barcelona, you're still going to be a good place if you buy the right property for the right price in Brisbane. So my recommendation is don't overpay for the Olympic hype. Be aware of the market timing. The property market moves in cycles. Post-games apartment supply, because the Athletes Village will be put onto the market, could temporarily dip prices. As I've said time and time again, buy when you're ready. Don't try and time the market. Time in the market beats timing the market every time. Interest rates and the broader economy still matter. So budget conservatively, stick within your buying means. So what's your Olympic property strategy? I think focus on the fundamentals: location, transport, affordability, equal long-term value. Balance Olympic potential with market realities, and position for legacy benefits. These infrastructure improvements will last for decades. But if you're ready to buy now and wondering where to look, I'd recommend having a decent look at Hurston, Bowen Hills, Spring Hill, and Kelvin Grove. If you're happy to buy a unit and you're looking for an area with lots of growth potential, these are the ones to check out. At Hunter Galloway, we're the home for home buyers across Australia. We work in Brisbane, we're in the CBD, we live in the area, so we know the city like the back of our hand. If you're wanting to explore your home buying potential, if you want to know your capacity, what schemes you might be eligible for, hit us up at huntergalloway.com.au. We'd love to help out. So over to you. Which suburb are you most excited about? Let me know in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. Thanks so much for watching. Until next time, I'll see you later.